To beat Oregon for the third time this season. If you go back and look at the series history between these two teams, Oregon leads at 154 to 121. In the Pac-10 tournament, the Ducks also have an advantage.
And remember, 28 for 28 for Washington State in that game in Eugene from the foul line. Right. Pretty impressive for Washington State. And that's one thing we haven't talked about real quickly. Free throw shooting in the postseason. We know how important that is.
Well, the first two times these two teams met this season, Oregon failed to crack the 20-point mark in each of the first halves. Can they do that tonight? We're about to find out. We'll send you down courtside to the gentleman calling the game in our second game tonight. That will be Barry Tompkins and Dan Belwami. Take it away, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Michael. And you said it. Tempo is the whole story of this game, and I think, Dan, who controls it wins it. Oregon, they want to play it at about 90 miles an hour, and Washington State be content at about, 25?
Well, and Washington State, a team that normally controls tempo. And I like Oregon. They're either playing of late. No question they're going to want to get out in the break and get it going a little bit quicker, but the Cougars are playing great basketball here late in the year.
Yeah, arguably they're playing better than anybody else in the conference over the last couple weeks of the season. They won two, had another one they very easily could have won. Let's take a look at our starting lineups. They're presented by Punisher Warzone for Oregon. Jovan Catron with LaKendrick Longmire. Josh Criddle, a freshman, gets the start at the post. Tawan Porter and Garrett Sim in the backcourt. For the Washington State Cougars, they will be the home team in this game. Aaron Baines, a load down low on the block. Caleb Forrest is a wild card. If he scores, they do well. You already talked about Klay Thompson. Nikola Koprivica gets the start because of his defense. And Taylor Rochestie, who has been absolutely sensational down the stretch. Let's take a look right now at our Pacific Life game matchup. And Danny, in a big man's game, I think tonight it's the two little guys who may decide things.
Well, two outstanding backcourt performers as you look at our Pacific Live game, a matchup. Tawan Porter, a guy that can score big in the open court. Can he get quality shots? And of course, Taylor Rochestie had 30 against Oregon in Eugene. So, he's playing great basketball late in the year.
All right, before we tip it off, we have an opportunity to meet the third member of our team. Here for the first time, Chris McGee. Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. For Washington State to be successful and make a run in this tournament, a lot of the factors are going to lie on a freshman, Klay Thompson. He's the son of former Laker Michael Thompson, and he has had a huge impact on the Cougars this year. As far as freshmen go, he is ranked number 2 in scoring and number 1 in three-point field goals made. Now, guys, I know you've watched Washington State a lot this year. They are a dangerous team if they can get going in this tournament.
Well, and they've been going, Chris. Thanks very much. They've been playing extremely well. They beat the two Arizoners, they beat UCLA, and they had a game that a lot of people feel against Washington had they have played it any other day but senior day, and with the Huskies having an opportunity to win the outright Pac-10 championship, they would have beaten. They played them very tough.
Yeah, they played them tough all the way to the end. And the question here is, I think a big key here is Baines inside. Now, if he backs you down that deep, you have a problem. And certainly it's going to be a real challenge for the Ducks to move Baines away from the low block.
Yeah, very effective. Little jump hook, 10 feet and in, left hand or right hand. And they'll do that all day if you don't help out. This is Jovan Catron. They bring him way out. Now Longmire. Catron worked on by Forrest. Longmire, the little runner, won't go. And the rebound comes down to Koprivica.
And Barry, you can bet the Cougars are going to go right back to Baines. The last one was very easy. And see if they can get something effective, bringing the ball all the way around to Aaron Baines.
What the Cougars do so well is they'll use 30 seconds of the shot clock and they'll wind up getting a quality shot. That's something that Tony Bennett, and before that his father Dick, really instilled in his team. That's Klay Thompson.
Well, you know that Oregon is concentrating on Klay Thompson. And the game plan for the Ducks was force Klay Thompson to put the ball on the ground and go to the goal. He's a tremendous perimeter player. So Klay Thompson put it on the floor and he scored.
They forced him and he did it. Good help defense by the Cougs. Garrett Sim, they wanted to shoot the rock a little bit more and he knocks one down.
Now, why not? And Garrett Sim, now don't forget this Oregon team, a very, very young basketball team. Yeah, they're going to play a lot of freshmen. And nice to see Sim get off with a big goal here early in the game.
You know, it's interesting. We always talk about Oregon as being a young team, and certainly they are. 7 freshmen. This is Koprivica, and they're going to get Sim on the foul. They have 7 freshmen on this Oregon team, and Ernie Kent has really had to be a teacher this year. But that said, So does Washington State.
Yeah, Washington State has a lot of freshmen also, but you're right. Ernie had to be a teacher this year, and obviously would have liked more wins. I mean, that goes without saying. But I think, my opinion, I think the future's bright in Eugene. It's going to have everybody back for the most part. He's had a great recruiting class. He's got some good players coming in. And don't forget, his body of work is unbelievable. 2 Elite Eights. When he first got the job at Oregon, he said, you better get your tickets early because it's going to be a tough ticket, and they're going into a new facility. And he's saying the same thing right now.
No, he absolutely is, and I completely agree with you. I know there's a lot of heat on Ernie, but you said his body of work has to be considered. 2 times he's gotten a team to the Final 8. As you look at Tony Bennett, and I think Ernie is a guy who certainly should continue to be the coach at Oregon and has earned that spot. It's a very tough job to do this year with all those freshmen on the team. He's had to be a teacher, as we've said. So if you're amongst those who are arguing that Ernie should be gone, I have 2 words. Stop it!
Okay. I got it.
Enough of that. Meantime, Baines will go to the free throw line. Call a foul on Josh Criddle.
You know what's great about this Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament and all the tournaments around the country? I mean, it gives everybody an equal opportunity. I mean, there will be some upsets in this Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament. And I know Washington State playing well, but I think some folks are going to be surprised about Oregon. And nobody is giving Oregon much of a shot at this at all. And the Ducks, who had not had a win in the conference, they won 2 of their last 4. That's right. And I thought even when they played in Los Angeles, the last 2 games against USC and UCLA, they had some spots where they played extremely well.
Turn the ball over here, though, and you must point out that right now this game is absolutely being played at the Cougars' tempo. Taylor Rochester, a very tough guy, needless to say, to try to press.
Now they're going to try to front Baines in there and hopefully get a little bit of help on the other side. Pretty good defense there. Nice play, and see if Oregon can convert in the open court.
Tawan Porter, you said one time the most valuable player in this tournament a couple of years ago.
Yeah, remember Tawan Porter, his first college game got 37.
That's right.
He had 37 in his first game.
Baines couldn't control that rebound. Comes back to the Ducks. Going to get a foul, I believe, on Klay Thompson.
What really helped Tawan Porter is when he had Aaron Brooks. Obviously, that would probably help a lot of people.
That would help you and me.
Yeah, of course, Aaron Brooks playing great basketball in the NBA right now, but for the Houston Rockets. But the fact is that Tawan Porter then could slide, could play off the ball, could get some open shots. He's been called upon now to play the point. He's taken a lot of the ball responsibility. Plus, you know that everybody's best defensive player now is kind of honed in on Tawan Porter. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing Oregon, you don't want him to beat you.
Matt Humphrey is at the free throw line. Another freshman who is growing up. Played very well over the last few games. One out of 2. And again, they'll pressure full court here. This is just designed to try to speed the game up a little bit. And it worked this time.
Well, remember, Barry, that Oregon, when they played Oregon State in Eugene, they were behind like 9 or 10. And Ernie Kent went to this full court press, and I thought turned the game around. All of a sudden, they started to steal the ball up-tempo. Oregon State made them play a little bit quicker than they would like, and Oregon really got into a rhythm. And he's trying to pick it up here in the Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament, coming out and having his guys extend. They do have quickness on this team.
That time they tried to drop it out of Baines, and Baines is hammered. And I believe they'll get Michael Dunnigan on this foul.
The other big bonus for Washington State is Baines a good free throw shooter.
They call that foul on Garrett Sim reaching in, not on Dunnigan. That's Sim's second personal foul. Baines knocks down both free throws. He's got 6 points. 6 of the Cougs' first 8. They lead by 4.
Washington State, of course, man-to-man.
Kokovica knocks it out of bounds.
Got to be alert here if you're Washington State. You got to focus in on Porter, because you know that they're going to try to get the ball to Porter, well, unless it's wide open underneath.
It was, but Katon couldn't quite handle the ball, and Baines comes away with a rebound. Up the right in Thompson's pocket. Ernie Kent was instructing his players to face guard on the defensive end. Well, they couldn't get to Thompson fast enough.
One of the bright stars in the Pac-10, Klay Thompson. I mean, he's a young man that's explosive from the outside, and he's got to work on going to the basket a little bit more so he can get to the free throw line. Makes a lot of free throws, just doesn't get there enough.
Got a beautiful stroke, doesn't he?
He really does. A great-looking shot. Watch this shot here coming off the screen. I mean, it definitely looks like it's going in every time it leaves his hand.
10-4 ball game. We're coming back. Here's where we stand. We've only had one game played in the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament so far, and that was won by the Stanford Cardinal as they defeated Oregon State in the 8-9 game. They beat them by 8, 62-54. So they will move on, and it's not going to get any easier for them, of course, because they're going to be playing the top-seeded Washington Huskies.
Yeah, but look at the games tomorrow. You see on Thursday, I mean, what a big game for Arizona coming up tomorrow, Barry, at noon, Arizona State. So there's some great games coming up in the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament.
And as we said, I don't think there's any game in this tournament, any game, that you can say, oh yeah, that's a win for whoever. I don't think there's a gimme in any single game.
Well, I think the conference right now is sitting with 4 teams real strong to go to the NCAA tournament. I think Arizona, in my opinion, in right now for 5, but they got to play another game. But I think they cement their position if they can beat Arizona State, which has not been easy. I mean, they've lost to them 4 consecutive times. So that game's coming up tomorrow at noon here at the Staples Center.
Well, Baines had taken a seat alongside Tony Bennett, but it's a brief seat.
Not for long.
No, and Castro comes off a little bit gimpy.
Yeah, let's hope Castro's all right. You're right. He took a shot. And they're working on him at the end of the bench. In the meantime, Barry, the Ducks need a productive trip down the floor.
This is Dunnigan, and he draws the crowd. Now long by, now Porter, open tray. Couldn't get it. Rochester with a rebound. Now Washington State, if they get an early break, they'll take an easy basket. If they don't, they'll back it out and they want to use 25 to 30 seconds of the clock. Unless you get a good look like that.
That's a great pass, too, by Thompson.
That's Caleb Forrest on the basket. Forrest, we said, he's a wild card. When he scores, this team is very likely to win.
Yeah, what I like about Klay Thompson in this game so far, he's doing some things that, well, there's a block shot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him do, and that is he's going to the basket. He's attracting a little bit of attention, but he's finding open players. Normally, he's a guy that's a catch and shoots coming off screens.
The other side of that coin is Oregon hasn't been able to find the basket. They're just 1 of 6. And they've only shot, in the 2 games these 2 teams have played, as Dunnigan makes that one, but they've only shot 30% against the Cougs all year long.
Now, Michael Dunnigan is a young man, played at Farragut Academy, and I think he's got a chance to be a very good player. He's got to obviously make some improvement defensively, but he's got skill, and he's starting to get it. Yeah, it's taken him a long time, but he's playing much better basketball. Now, he's pretty deep in there, and Baines is very strong, and Baines doesn't miss the jump hook.
No, not at that range, and he can go either way with it, too. So he's a load once he gets the ball that low on the block. And the Cougs lead it by 8. This is Wiley up top. He can shoot it. That was a long 3. He had 18 against UCLA. Rochester's not had a shot yet. There's Baines again. Look out. And a foul on Dunnigan.
Yeah, the last time down, Barry, I thought Baines, look at Baines, how deep that he gets his defender, and then he's got that beautiful jump hook. He turns. So if you're going to play behind Baines, then all of a sudden, you're either going to have to drop down or put a little more pressure on the ball. But you cannot allow him to catch and turn and shoot a 4-footer. He's not going to miss many.
Well, D'Angelo Casto back in the ballgame, so obviously whatever was wrong with him was just a temporary thing. Look out!
Barry was very temporary.
Yes.
I think he's feeling better.
That'll make him feel even better.
He's feeling a lot better after that.
We'll take a timeout right now. Washington State running away and hiding from the Ducks.
At U.S. Bank, we support athletics, the arts, and anyone with a dream. Support that's not just about money. It's about investing our time and our care to make the most of the places we call home. That's the power of U.S. Bank. 5-star service guaranteed.
Cougs lead it by 10, 16-6, 12:51 left. Let's go to Chris McGee right now with a little bit of an update on D'Angelo Casto. Obviously, he's just fine, Chris.
Well, yeah, Barry, after you saw him flush that down with his right hand, you know he's doing all right. He took an elbow to the chest, got the wind knocked out of him. Trainer went over, attended to him, and as you guys saw, he got up and absolutely hammered it home.
Yeah, he's going to be a big-time player, I think, before he's all done, too. Very athletic. High school team didn't lose a game for 2 years.
No, he went to Ferris High School, right in Spokane. And D'Angelo Casto's high school team, as you said, Barry, undefeated in 2 years. So, he's coming out of a strong program, used to winning, and I think very effective. A good leaper, can block shots, and only a freshman. So he's got to be a real asset to this program.
Reached in on Jovan Catron this time.
Well, the other thing I like about Casto, look how explosive he is on the first step. I mean, he went right by Wiley. Now you got to rotate and give a little bit of help and get on his right hand and force him to go left. But that was a solid move to the goal.
Sim back in the ball game. Now remember, playing with 2 fouls, which he picked up very early. That time, just unable to hang on with Franz Dorsevelt. Dorsevelt, a senior, played the first 2 or 3 games and then broke his hand and was out until just a week ago.
Sim doing a good job on Rochester, and Washington State really hasn't needed Taylor scoring. I mean, there it is. He'll pick it up. Good job to screen out, and he's just got to go get the ball.
Get on the floor here, a scramble for it. Dorsevelt can't hang on. Baines gets down there, and we're going to get a tied-up ball, and it's going to be Oregon's basketball. 10-point lead for Washington State. When we come back, Chris McGee will have the Pac-10 all-freshman team.
Welcome back to downtown Los Angeles Staples Center, the Pacific Life Tournament. Washington State leading Oregon here in the first half by a score of 16-6. Now, earlier this week, the awards came out for the Pac-10. Our all-freshman team was named, and here they are. D'Angelo Casto from Washington State. We just saw him dunk a little bit earlier. DeMar DeRozan from just down the road at USC at 13 points a game. Jeremy Green, who picked up a win with Stanford earlier tonight, and Drew Holiday from UCLA. Now, the freshman of the year, Isaiah Thomas. The first time that's happened at UW since 1992. And Klay Thompson from Washington State. Our U.S. Bank Pac-10 players are D'Angelo Casto and Klay Thompson of Washington State. Barry?
A couple of guys who are going to be around for another 3 years, much to the dismay, I'm sure, of everybody else in the Pac-10. And this is a guy who has a huge upside. Great shooter, natural stroke. It's all in the genes.
It is in the genes, and of course, really his dad, Michael Thompson, as we said, he was the first pick in the NBA draft back in 1978. Another, certainly a terrific all-around player. Played at Minnesota. And Klay, I think, he's got the potential also to play that next level, no question about it.
Long three by Porter, and he gets it. And he is a streaky guy.
Yeah, it's a confidence shot for TP. So, when Porter gets a good look and he gets off and he starts making a few shots, I mean, he's going to get proactive with the ball. And certainly the Cougars are going to have to defend him hard coming down the floor. That's a great job to step out. Kittle just couldn't get back in time. But Oregon working hard at the defensive end.
And Capers knocks it down. Marcel Capers, not normally thought of as a scorer, more of a defender, makes his first shot. Criddle with the extra step. 4th turnover for the Ducks, and only 3 of 10 from the field.
Now look at this three-pointer here from Tawan Porter. You know, that's an NBA three, and you know certainly he's got unlimited range. And you can see if he gets some open looks, he's dangerous. And that's a big score for Oregon.
That's a key stat presented by Transporter 3. Trying to go to Caleb Forrest off his hand and out of bounds to the Ducks. 3rd turnover for the Cougs. So Criddle will inbound. Porter with Capers in his pocket. Capers doing a nice job on him. Now Longmire tries the baseline cut off. And Capers takes it away.
Yeah, terrific defensive set that time. Good job by Capers, right to stay in front, keep his feet in front, and his body was rewarded.
Caleb Forrest had a good look, couldn't get it to fall. Humphrey.
They got to get it moving a little bit more. Now you got to obviously make better decisions at the end of the break, but you know that open court transition is the way Oregon likes to play, and I think right now it's obvious it's Washington State's tempo.
Now remember, Washington State has held the Oregon Ducks under 20 in the first half, both times that they've played this year, and
they're going in that direction.
They're headed in that direction.
Yeah, they are.
Oregon right now has twice as many turnovers as they do field goals.
Barry, that is not a great stat. I mean, you're not going to win a whole lot of games when you turn it over in an inordinate amount of time. So the Ducks are trying to get a couple of stops. And you like Thompson. Now, he didn't make that shot, but you sure like the way he's handling and trying to go into goal.
Caleb Forrest with a hustle rebound. Koprivica saved him from going over the midcourt line. And now Marcel Capers feeling confident, misses off the left side. Another offensive rebound for Caleb Forrest. Koprivica the floater. Oh, it won't go, and followed by Casto.
It's been a real active first half for Washington State. See if we're going the other way or we got a block. I think we have a block, but boy, Casto just going to the goal, and I thought Marcus Capers doing a good job too from the outside, but you see no block out on Casto, gets a running flying start. That's the time that Dunnigan's got to get a body on him, so he's been really active. D'Angelo Casto here in the first half for Washington State.
He'll come out of the game now, and Aaron Baines will come back. And so far, Oregon has not had an answer for Aaron Baines. Rochester will come back into the Washington State lineup after a very short blow, and Klay Thompson leaves. Longmire contested 3. And Baines with the rebound. Cougs playing excellent on the defensive end.
All right, see if they go right back in here to Baines and see if he can find him and then make a move. I'm surprised he passed it out.
And Wiley came to help. Now they go over the top again, and Baines can't handle it.
I thought Baines had it the first time. I know Wiley came for a little bit of help, but Baines had the ball in an excellent spot, had it right on the sweet spot inside, and I think Tony Bennett's telling him shoot it. You know, he got that jump hook, it's probably going to go.
This is Wiley, and Ernie Kent just trying to find a scorer someplace, and Wiley has been that on occasion. Another freshman. Longmire, good look. Still can't get one to go. Capers, the rebound. Capers is long.
You notice, too, it's 1 and out for the Ducks. They have not been able to get many second efforts at all. Good dish there and a good pass, well executed.
Oregon just 3 of 13 from the field.
Great job of penetrating, drawing the defense, kicking it to the right guy, and letting them drop it in. Here he goes. Here he goes.
May as well let him go.
You know what? He's kind of shooting it off before he comes off the bus. I mean, he's dangerous, and you'd better get on him when he comes off the screen.
And he is streaky, and he gets 1. He's very likely to get 2 or 3. Rochester trying to answer off the front rim. Longmire the rebound.
Got to get the Porter right now because he feels it. Good little hesitation. How do you like it? Good little hesitation all the way to the goal.
The Porter with 8 points here after starting out rather slowly, actually. And another turnover. And now the Ducks starting to feel it a little bit here. 7:25 remaining first half. Cougars still lead it by 8, but the Ducks starting to make a little bit of noise. We're coming back. With Vice President of Marketing for Toyo, Steve Hutchinson, presenting a check for $22,000 contributed to Pac-10 institutions by Toyo Tires. And how about Taylor Rochesty, communications major? He's going to take your job, Danny, with a 3.37 GPA. So the Pac-10 Conference very happy, and we thank Toyo Tires for that presentation.
I'm blessed to be where I am, like I said before, and you know, to be able to go to classes and have a scholarship is something that means a lot to me, means a lot to my family, and to go to classes not just to be there, but to actually learn something and try to get something out of my college experience means a lot.
Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And there, of course, is Taylor Rochesty's dad, who has been omnipresent. He's at all the games. They're the MVP family.
Yeah, they are. They might get that award. You bet. But what a great young man, Taylor Rochesty, and he's had a sensational year for Washington State.
Meantime, Porter has made his last 3 shots. Devon Catron working on Baines, and a good job by Catron.
Taking a page out of Aaron Baines' book with that little jump hook. And Catron, nickname of Duke, does a nice job to go all the way in and make that shot.
And the Ducks on a 7-0 run now and start to chip away.
Well, you can see their intensity defensively is picked up too. It's amazing when you make a few shots, all of a sudden you got to get into it.
Well, Cameron Brown getting into Koprivica a little bit too much that time. Nikola Koprivica, as we said, gets the starting call predominantly for his defensive effort.
Yeah, any offense you can get from Koprivica, if he can make a perimeter shot, it's a real plus. I mean, now you got to help out Rochesty. You know, he gets, you think, well, he's quiet. He's not scoring much, and then all of a sudden by halftime he's got 8 or 9.
Nice steal by Casto. Casto puts it in front of him on a crossover, waits for help, giving it Koprivica to the basket, and it won't go. That was highlight reel stuff for a while. Boy, Castro's
he's all over. Yeah, both ends of the floor.
Catron, a little spin move on Baines, bounces off of him and throws it away.
What you love about Baines is he has great position inside. Keeps his body in front, tries not to foul, and he caused that turnover.
8 turnovers for the Ducks here in the first 14 minutes of the ball game.
You got Porter, number 12, guarding Koprivica.
Now there's Baines. He'll take that shot.
He is automatic.
Make that shot every time.
Now he's automatic with it. And he can go the other way. I mean, if he's on the left side, he can make the left-handed jump hook. He's got 10 so far in the first half, and he's really been the tough cover for the Ducks.
I got to think you keep going to the well.
Why not? Why not? You know that Ernie Kent's thinking right now, we either have to drop down, we've got to make a little bit of an adjustment here. We can't let Baines just continue to get it that deep.
Porter trying it again, not this time. Koprivica with the rebound for the Cougars. Cougars lead by 10, coming down to the 5:15 mark remaining here in the first half.
Okay, here's Baines again. He's on the other side of the floor now. Now they're going to go inside and see if Castro can do some work. But Baines is proficient at both ends of both sides of the block there.
They're going to get Wiley on the foul. A little too aggressive with D'Angelo Castro. Humphrey's going to come back into the Oregon lineup, and he will bring Josh Criddle with him, and Wiley and Longmire leave.
Got to be alert here too on the out of bounds, because they love to lob it right there to Baines, which they do.
They are playing both DeCastro and Baines because you're very tough matchup.
It sure does.
There's DeCastro, give it up to Baines. Baines waits for people to fly by and then misses a little bunny, and a battle for the rebound, and a good job by Catron to come down with it. So the Ducks dodge a bullet. Matt Humphreys went halfway down, came out, follow misses. Ball still alive, and it's Catron who gets it and draws the foul.
Great job by Criddle to keep it alive.
Now they're going to call a travel. It's not going to be Oregon ball. It'll be the Cougars ball. Yeah, the officials really letting these guys go here in this game. Thompson draws the foul this time. Going to get Humphrey over his back.
7th team foul on Oregon, and Klay Thompson will get to the line.
Now, Klay Thompson has 2 free throws in a row. That's the bad news. The good news is he's made every other free throw he's taken this year.
Well, Klay started the year 24-24 from the foul line. So, you know what I mean? He missed a few shots. That's a real upset for him to miss a shot.
It's you and I that are doing that.
I tell you, he's like a 90+% from the foul line. Great job by Rochester just to stay with Porter. Hard to help out. Just got to stay with him and not give him any open looks.
Got D'Angelo Casto on a grab that time, his 2nd personal foul. And Caleb Forrest will come back into the Washington State lineup, and Casto leaves. Porter trying to direct to the traffic now. Now he's going to back it out. Porter, good look this time. Won't go. And again, a good job by Catron to keep it alive. Humphrey comes away with it, rejected by Baines. Back into the hands of Porter. Now Sim an open 3, and it won't go. And finally, Baines controls the rebound for Washington State.
It's a real good effort by Catron and Criddle on the offensive glass to keep it alive. Oregon had some good looks, couldn't get it down. Now they're going to try to front Baines. You look at him inside Criddle trying to get all the way around in front.
Here's Thompson, puts it on the floor again, got a man in the air, banks it home.
Yeah, it's automatic. Well, he is definitely developing his total game. I mean, he's doing things in this basketball game I just haven't seen him do. Well, on the floor, going to the goal, and he has to because they're really playing him tight.
6-0 run for the Cougs.
It's a bad spill.
Aren't they all? We'll do what we can.
You know, some researchers are using bacteria to clean soil contaminated by oil spills. They're using it on nuclear sites too, like Hanford.
Huh. Who's doing that?
Washington State University.
Wow. Go Cougs.
Washington State University, because the world needs big ideas.
28-16 ball game. Washington State over Oregon. Aaron Baines has been a big part of that, and I say big, but literally and figuratively, and he's a load.
Yeah, he really is a load. He gets it deep. He's got the great jump hook, and you notice that the Ducks are playing right behind him, and Baines is very, very effective. So, I mean, this is these are all in sequence. It's not like the same shot over and over again. And there's Baines at the defensive end, and he's a difference maker. He's a guy that came from Australia, and you know, he's a quality player.
Came out of the Australia Institute of Sport where so many players have come out.
How many have come out? I mean, it's really there's guys all over the country that have come out from that Institute of Sport in Australia.
Taylor Rochester just with a clean pick that time, then a reach-in foul on Humphrey. We'll jump off the track, 28-16 ball game. Washington State the lead in the ball. Washington State Cougars over the Oregon Ducks. Let's take a moment for a key stat presented by Transporter 3. Washington State, once again, just giving up 55.2 points a game. And if you think that's an aberration, it's not. Washington State has done this for 6 consecutive years. They have led the Pac-10 in scoring defense. It is now Tony Bennett. Prior to that, it was his dad, Dick Bennett, who got this program really rolling, and it is doing just that, really rolling. Taylor Rochester at the line, knocks down the first. And there is Dick Bennett. Came all the way out here from Wisconsin.
What a job, and he started it. Dick Bennett was definitely the architect at Washington State, and just did a wonderful job to get this program going. And, you know, took some lumps early, and he didn't want Tony to kind of come in until he got the program in the right direction. But, you know, Tony just came in, he won 52 games in 2 years.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's Odia, and he can't get it to go. They can't find it. Washington right now, Washington State rather, with its biggest lead and an opportunity to extend that.
No, here's the whole deal for Oregon, Barry. 10 turnovers, 6 field goals.
Yeah.
Now I know that's a number you got to do a better job of handling the ball. And there's the over-the-top pass and not much help.
And a great give by Taylor Rochester. 16-point Cougar lead. This will remain Oregon ball.
Great job by, look at the over the top. This is a beautiful angle. Now in this, you've got to give a little bit of help here. Now look at the over the top right there, and they're trying to front. So if you're going to front, now it's hard for Sim to give the help, Barry, because Sim gives up about 8 or 9 inches. So you got to get a big guy on the backside.
And Wiley breaks a drought.
Good to see Wiley get a score. Now, Wiley is a very good young player, and he's a guy that played at a very small high school, Mackenzie River High School, played for his dad, then transferred later on to Thurston, and he's a guy that can score. He's a good shooter, and certainly the Ducks need a little bit of a lift here.
Trying to get to the 20 mark by halftime for the first time in the 3 games these teams have played. They're not going to do it on this trip. Popovica gets it out of there. Now he's going to wait for help. Michael Thompson. Now Baines. And I did say Michael Thompson, and of course,
well, it's you know what? It's easy to say Michael when you watch Clay because he shoots the ball so well and so fluid. How about the first half for Aaron Baines?
He's got 14 points in the ball game.
Trying to run a quick screen just to see if they can free up Porter. And that was almost blocked. I thought Baines didn't block it, but he bothered it.
He did, and I thought he might have even got a little piece of it.
No question, the Cougars are just dictating tempo here as the first half is winding down. I mean, 34-19, and they've done a beautiful job to control their offense. I thought a superb first half for Aaron Baines. Klay Thompson effective, and you know, the good news for Washington State, I mean, Taylor Rochester really hasn't had to do much. I mean, it's how to handle the ball.
Now, Rochester's got 4 points in the ball game, only 1 field goal. We want to remind you, coming up at halftime, you can see the guys getting ready. Don McLean, Michael Eaves, they'll tell you all about what's going on in this tournament. Of course, fill you in on a game we've already had a little bit earlier. Stanford coming out a winner over Oregon State. And they'll tell you what's happening all around the country. And all the many tournaments that are going on this week.
Stanford is very athletic. They don't forget, they started the year and won their first 10 before they lost big to Arizona State, came back and beat Arizona. And I thought they might be a little bit better during the conference. They're kind of a wild card team because they're athletic and they have good guard play.
Porter finishes with a nice 3.
Well, that's just how you drew it up. May give Oregon a little bit of momentum. I know they're down 34-22 at half, but that's a big score for Twan. I think he wanted a foul. I may have been bumped coming off that screen.
And he might have had an argument there, as a matter of fact, but they do score more than 20. I suppose that's the good news. First time they've been able to do that by halftime in the 3 games these 2 teams have played. But it's all Washington State. They lead it by 12. Let's go to Chris McGee. Chris.
Thanks, Barry. Coach, all 3 times that you've been able to play this Oregon team, you have controlled the tempo. How have you been able to do that?
It's not the way you end the half. Silly turnover and give up a shot like that, but you got to take care of the ball and you got to get back and do a better job than we did the last 2 possessions, that's for sure.
And Coach, you know, you and I talked before the game. You had hoped these guys would come out with a sense of urgency. Are you happy with how your seniors have played, especially Aaron Baines?
20 minutes left, we'll see.
Okay, thanks, Coach. All right, coming up, the Pacific Life Pac-10 halftime. Michael Eaves and Donnie McLean will break down the first half. They'll get you up to speed on what happened today. Stick around, that is coming up next.
Just about set to start the second half. The Oregon Ducks and the Washington State Cougars, the 7th and 10th seeds, and it was all Cougs in the first half. They lead it by 12, 34-22. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, and here are the numbers. Washington State shot it pretty darn well.
Well, they did shoot it well. You look at 61%. Look at the points in the paint, and the assist-to-turnover ratio is unbelievable. I mean, Oregon, 1 assist and 10 turnovers. Now, of course, Aaron Baines, brilliant in the first half for Washington State.
I think that 1 assist is a number that really jumps out.
Really does.
So Baines with 14 points. Porter had 11 points in the first half, but was a little bit erratic in his shooting. Right now, let's once again turn to the third member of our broadcast team. Here again is Chris McGee. Chris.
Yeah, you know, guys, I walked up to Coach Ernie Kent. He put his arm around me and he said, offensively, we have just been awful and we're only down 12 points. He said we were a little passive. Our big guys got to play much better. I asked about Aaron Baines. He said, you know, with Washington State, Rochester's not killing us. You got to kind of pick your poison.
Yeah, and that's what he was talking about today, too, at the shoot-around. He was really much more worried about the perimeter than he was about Aaron Baines. And they did do a pretty good job on Rochester. He just didn't allow him to. Rochester did everything he could, but he couldn't get a lot of shots.
Well, I think with Taylor Rochester, he's a guy that I think he senses the moment. If Washington State needs him to be active, he will. But if you're getting great shots inside with Aaron Baines, are you going to start out with Baines right away? He's on the other side of the floor. Well, you know, why not? I mean, Rochester's just going to back off and kind of direct his team and not try to force it.
There's Klay Thompson, comes baseline, kicks out for Caleb Forrest, got an open look. Well, that's what they do to you. I mean, they run the clock down and then get a quality shot.
Barry, that is the mark of a good team. if you can break the defense down with the dribble, good things will happen.
What the Cougs are getting now, too, is it's not just about Rochester and Baines. Klay Thompson, of course, we know about his talents, and Caleb Forrest has contributed. I thought Marcus Capers contributed. Certainly D'Angelo Casto contributed in the first half. So it's the role players who are really stepping up for Washington State. And that's a shot they'll give the Ducks all night long.
It's a frustration shot at the end of the 35. Of course, you look at the big picture. What happens here, Barry, if Washington State goes on to win this game? Who do they get in their next game, by the way?
Well, they have to go play UCLA.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, by the way, they happen to beat them at Pauley Pavilion.
And Rochester had his career high of 33 against the Bruins. And I thought, if you think about the game in Pullman, that was a very close game, and Washington State had a very good chance to win that game. UCLA pulled it out. So it'd be an interesting game in the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament tomorrow. If Washington State goes on to beat Oregon, they get UCLA. Of course, California will play USC, I think, in a very good game also, and Stanford will play against Washington. So Stanford will get the #1 seed.
Well, you know,
and by the way, let's not forget Arizona and Arizona State. I mean, that game, that's how we start the day tomorrow. That game may mean a lot, will mean a lot.
Well, we mentioned it earlier, but I don't think there's a gimme win in this tournament. And that's certainly going to hold true tomorrow. Klay Thompson has it knocked away. Porter comes away with it for the Ducks. 2-on-3, and Porter will back it out.
It's always 2-on-3, 1-on-3 when you play Washington State. They do a beautiful job of getting players back whenever they turn it over and miss a shot. They may give up a little offensive rebounding, but you get very few runouts on the Cougars.
Kick out for Cameron Brown. Now Sim, 10 on the shot clock. And a steal, near steal by Rochester.
No reset, got to be alert here.
Porter's going to drive.
A great defense by Clay. Oh, he does foul. Oh, tough foul. I thought Klay Thompson did a good job.
With 1 second on the shot clock. Second foul on Klay Thompson.
Hey, Barry, you take a look at those brackets, and of course Arizona State tomorrow, and Stanford's going to go on to play the #1 seed, which is the Huskies. And you see the California USC game is going to be a wonderful game. California, you don't talk much about the Bears, but they lead the nation in three-point shooting, and USC very dangerous, good defensive team. They're going to throw multiple defenses at Cal, and of course the winner of this game will move on to play the Bruins, and the Bruins are #2 seeds. They've won this tournament 2 of the last 3 years.
The officials now over what they're looking at here is to see if that last shot was a 2-point effort or a 3-point effort. And Cameron Brown, incidentally, rolled an ankle somewhere during the course of that last sequence, and he's limping around a little bit. Looks like he's going to stay in the lineup, but he's going to come out now, and Humphrey's going to come in. He is decidedly limping, favoring that left ankle. So they say it was a 2-point shot. See if we can see what happened to Cameron Brown.
Yeah, Cameron went down hard. He may have stepped on another player or hurt his knee while falling. So let's hope he's all right. And of course, Tawan Porter will get to the foul line. We don't want to jinx him either, Barry, but here's another guy that just does not miss many free throws. When he hits the rim, it's an upset on his free throws.
So Oregon will just try to chip away here. Cougars have had the lead virtually from the get-go.
It was me that time.
And they did say it was a 3-point effort. I thought he said a 2, and the public address announcer announced 2, but obviously it is 3.
And Oregon in a position right now in this Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament that they've got to extend the lead. That is unbelievable that he missed 2 of 3. I mean, the guy's a 90% free throw shooter.
So now we've done it to Klay Thompson and we've done it to Tawan Porter. Plus, to steal.
Yeah. Plus, it doesn't give the Ducks a chance to press full court. Nice call there. And
good no call.
Okay, I guess that's emphatic.
Baines, the big finish. He's got 16.
Baines would be if Washington State goes on to win this game. Baines is a tough matchup for everybody. And certainly, UCLA is going to. They've got some people who can defend inside, but with Boye and Baines is really a good matchup. But Baines is a load. I mean, he's 6'11", he's about 260. And you're right, I thought this was a good no call. Katron tried to get position, but not much contact. And again, where's Baines setting up? He's setting up very low near the 10. And if you allow him to catch there, it's over.
Well, as you said earlier, it's kind of pick your poison. I mean, they've paid attention to Rochestie, and he's not been much on the offensive end. How about that? What a dish. Baines all by himself.
So Rochestie just kind of allowing the game to flow to him and making a beautiful pass in traffic. And Washington State playing great basketball.
They are driving the bus. We're coming back.
Washington State leading Oregon 40-23, and here's part of the reason why. Watch the clear here, and watch Rochestie on the dribble. They're going to get Baines, and Baines comes right around for the goal. So they clear, and watch Rochestie head up, and here comes the help by Criddle, but no rotation at all by Oregon, and that's when you've got to rotate and help. And Criddle comes all the way up from the weak side and leaves Baines all by himself. So it's kind of like team defense, help each other out. Look what Washington State is shooting from the field, but they're getting a lot of dunks, Barry, so that's going to increase your field goal percentage.
Yeah, they shot 63%. Half their points have come down on the block. 18 of them by Baines and a pair by Casto. Meantime, Oregon shooting just 30%. That's really all you need to know about this game. Criddle, a nice effort.
Well, now the press, and Wiley almost with a steal. And recollection, Barry, how many scores has Oregon had near the basket? That maybe 2 or 3. They've got 4 points near the goal. So how many has Washington State had compared to Oregon? I mean, look at the high percentage shots that the Cougars have been able to attain by just trying to find Aaron Baines inside.
They had Baines again for just a moment, but they'll back it out, use a little of the clock here as it comes down to 15 on the shot clock. Now Rochestie just blew by, getting Baines, and Baines is mugged. And it looks like they could do that all night long. In fact, they have been doing that all night long. We're coming back. We'll be back to the Pacific Life Pac-10 men's basketball tournament right now. Let's go to Chris McGee. Chris.
Thanks, Barry. Oregon is wearing brand new jerseys. First time that they have worn them all year long, the away black jerseys. Those are Nike Aero graphic jerseys. They're one of 5 Nike schools to receive the signature jersey. And if you look closely on the back, Tawan Porter, you can barely see the name. Now, the difference between the white ones that they wear at home that they wore against Oregon State when they won, there's no name on the back, there's no Ducks on the back, and there's a subtle scaffolding that you can see from Matt Court and a Big O. So it's pretty cool. Only 1 of 5 schools to get these.
Yeah, they've always been sartorial splendor. As a matter of fact,
no question.
That's a very big recruiting tool for Oregon, both football and basketball. In fact, now the baseball program as well. Baines now with 20 points in the ballgame. And the Cougs have kind of taken what's being given. nobody for Oregon has more than one field goal, with the exception of Tawan Porter.
Yeah, Baines doing a good job of moving Criddle away, and then they double him, so Criddle's going to have to try to find someone. And it's a tough shot.
Sure is.
Rochester did a good job just to stay in front.
And a good job by Caleb Forrest to get a hand on that, knocks it back to Klay Thompson.
It's a Washington State team, by the way, that's proven they can play well in Los Angeles.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, we were talking about who are the real dark horses coming into this tournament, and there's a lot of voices who think USC, and I can't argue with that, but I also think this Washington State team is playing as well as it has played all year long and really starting to come together.
Now, you talk about recruiting tools. You heard Tony Bennett say, he tells his players, you're going to play in the Staples Center where Kobe Bryant, the Lakers play. You kind of forget, for a lot of these young players, that's a big deal. That is something that, they want to be on the same floor, and this is huge to come here to the Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament and just get in this facility and try to prove that, you're one of the better teams in the conference.
And again, for Washington State, great ball movement. They finished with Caleb Forrest. He's got 8 points in the ball game. It's the complementary players who have really stepped up of late for the Cougars. They call the foul on Aaron Baines. It'll be his second personal foul. Longmire and Catron are going to come back for Oregon. Wiley and Humphrey will leave. Koprivica will get a blow for the Cougars, and Marcus Capers will come on. And so too will D'Angelo Casto, and Baines will sit. Baines sits to a round of applause. It's a very difficult game to play because while there is a decent crowd here at the Staples Center, this is a big, big arena. And so you don't really get that ambiance that you would have in a smaller place where the crowd is really involved in the game. You barely can hear them.
Yeah, but if you cannot get excited about playing in this Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament or any postseason tournament, you get a second chance here. I mean, you get an opportunity to win a few games, possibly an upset, possibly a chance to go to the NCAA tournament if you can really string a few games along and win. So seniors, a guy like Baines, a guy like Rochester, this is kind of their last go.
Absolutely.
And they're playing really well. And you said it earlier, they won 3 in a row and then lost in Seattle against the #1 team in the conference, Washington, and played extremely well in that game. So this is a very hot team in Washington State coming into this Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament.
And again, right there, you saw the unselfishness of the Cougars. They made the extra pass, and Caleb Forrest finished again. Loose ball, everybody on the floor. Dorsonville controls it for Catron. Catron muscles it in.
And Washington State, Barry, at 16 and 14, and Tony Bennett said, we obviously we want to play in the postseason, and he would love to get an NIT bid. And then he said in the same breath, what do you think it would take? You think we'd have to win it to go to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, to which we said yes.
Probably, yes. Well, they're going to get a great matchup if they go on to beat Oregon when they get UCLA again, and that's going to be a terrific game.
Caleb Forrest again, this time he can't finish. Fight for the rebound, and it's going to be off, I believe, off of Tawan Porter. Well, there is a very familiar face, not only to us, not only the fans of FSN, longtime broadcaster, longer time as a head coach, and the big mover and shaker now with Nike, George Raveling, coach.
And did really a great coaching job when he was at Washington State. And of course, George was an assistant to Lefty Driesell at Maryland, and did an outstanding job in the late 70s and early 80s at Washington State.
A foul on Capers. George knows what he's looking at, I'll tell you that. One of the good guys, great storyteller. Still very knowledgeable about the up-and-coming players. Porter bounces that off of Dorsonville's toe. It's actually covered. Garrett Sims. And the rebound to Thompson.
Yeah, Sims had a great look early and made his first shot, and he's had a little bit of trouble since then, but it's not about Oregon in this game. It's really an efficient Washington State team, and as you said, they seem to be able to get that penetration and that kind of a pass whenever they want. And Rochester, I think, has just said, you know what, all I'm going to do is penetrate and find other players. There's no need for me to get any kind of proactivity to be looking for my shot or trying to force anything, because we've got command of this game.
Yeah, that's all he has to do. And he's passed the ball great. This last one right here to Forrest, right before the foul, was another sensational pass.
Here's another quiz for you. How many teams are going to get into the NCAA tournament from the Pacific 10 Conference?
Well, we've talked about that. We've talked about it. I mean, honestly, I think 5.
All right. Obviously, Washington, UCLA, Cal, Arizona State.
Right.
I think Arizona right now is in, right before they play. Now, having said that, they open up tomorrow at noon and play Arizona State. And I think, which they haven't beaten, by the way, in 4 consecutive games, lost both games this year and the 2 last year. So does Arizona get in if they beat Arizona State? I say yes. And I still think there's an outside chance, even if they lose, depending on what happens in other conference tournaments, that they still could get in. But it's dicey if they lose another one. Now, I'll give you another one. How about if USC gets to the finals?
Well, and a lot of people think they might. I mean, that they're healthy for the first time in a long time. They're getting a lot of contributions. DeRozan is improving with every game, becoming a real scoring threat. I think you really got to keep a close eye on the Trojans. And again, the 2 teams I think you have to watch closer than anybody else in this tournament are the team we're watching right here, Washington State and USC. Gonna get a grab foul against Sim on this one. It'll be his 3rd, 50-33 Cougs. Right now, let's take a look at our winning touch from Touch of Gray from Just for Men. And the winning touch is the touch of this guy right here, Taylor Rochester.
Well, Taylor, a tremendous player. He gets the big goal there to get a big score. And you see his dad, Howard, pulling up the side. Thank you, Pullman. And I think he made his first shot of the game and made his last shot against Arizona State to get that win.
Last one was the game winner.
Yeah, and of course played great against UCLA. And there's your brackets, Barry. And of course Stanford gets a nice win against Oregon State, and they move on to play the University of Washington. Arizona State's going to be a great game, and that's how we lead off tomorrow at noon. And of course USC, California, the winner of this game, it looks like it's going to be Washington State, will play UCLA. What a matchup that will be.
Yeah, should be great fun.
Collison against Rochester.
That's right. Well, yeah, we've been talking all night long about the fact that the Cougars are just kind of taking what's there. And these numbers, I think, really say exactly that. That's Casto, and Casto this time throws it right in the hand of Sim. I'll finish this thought. Sim to the basket, rejected by Thompson, but a foul. Washington State in the 2 previous games against Oregon shot 28 threes. Another look. And Thompson got all ball, but he did get Sim with the body. 28 threes in the 2 games during the regular season. Today they've taken 1 and missed it. Do not have a 3-point shot in this game.
And of course the reason why is why is that the case in this game?
Well, they're allowing the entry pass to Baines, and
that's
Baines
it.
finishing.
Sure. Yeah, there you go. After all these years.
Speaking of after all these years, Washington State was last held without a 3-point shot only once this decade. It was only 2006 against UCLA. They did not have a 3-point shot. Otherwise, they made one every game this decade. Every game this millennium.
Got to pick it up then a little bit, don't they?
Again, a little careless pass by Casto. Humphrey. And nice to trailer Sim, but again, great defense by the Cougs. They just got back.
No, I thought Casto bothered everybody in there, and it looked like Humphrey was going to take it all the way to the rim, but you've got a shot blocker in Casto on the floor. And that extra pass looked good, but Baines and Casto were tough inside.
And Dunnigan, that's going to be a jump ball call, but on the possession arrow, Oregon will maintain possession. Casto will leave, and Caleb Forrest will come back for the Cougars, and Tawan Porter gets a very short blow, and he will come back for Oregon. And Sim will leave.
Well, you know they love to run any kind of a screen for Porter to get him the ball, and a great job by Rochester that time, just to body himself through the screen and get to Tawan Porter. Shot clock now, you got to be alert.
They jump out on that screen. Baines did a good job and did just enough, I thought. And here comes Rochester. They have numbers 3-on-2. Ahead it goes, and the finish by Koprivica.
As you said,
a great pass.
Yeah, they will take the break if they have it. And I think Rochester's thinking coming down the floor, well, you know, I've got numbers, now why not? Wonderful pass by Taylor Rochester that time.
Well, he's been doing it all night. I mean, unselfish player. Perfect player for Tony Bennett.
Quite a backcourt when they had Lowe, Weaver, and Rochester. Yeah, those three guys, you know, they did a little bit of damage, didn't they?
This time they fly at Catron, and Catron comes up short with the shot, and it is finally going to be controlled by Oregon. And then Humphreys picked clean by Rochester. Got numbers again, 3-on-1.
I'm sure he'll get a little behind the back.
How about that?
How do you
Highlight reel.
It was showtime there by Taylor. His dad Howard loved it. Little high fives. Looking for somebody to high five in the stands.
Equals the biggest lead of the ball game, 54-34. Washington State just going on all cylinders right now, and the crowd loving it. Cougs lead it by 20 with 9:16 remaining to be played. They have been in front right from the get-go, and they are playing really solid. I don't care who they're playing against.
Well, they really are, and they're taking their opportunities and making terrific transitions. And certainly Washington State doing a great job at both ends of the floor. It started with Aaron Baines, and they got the ball to Baines, and he made it happen inside, and it's opened up their whole game. But their defense has been really superb. So keeping the ball right there in front and forcing Oregon to shoot long perimeter jumpers.
And they're going to get done again this time on a moving screen. Watch the last play by Rochester.
Yeah, this was sweet. Look at Rochester, he just gets the ball down to Koprivica and penetrates and gives it up to Aaron Baines, breaks the defense, and here's the last one, a little behind the back to Koprivica again, and Taylor Rochester putting on a show here at the Staples Center in the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament.
Yep, 6 assists, 4 points. He's only shot when he's needed to shoot.
I think, Barry, you better send a message to the bench so they need to make a three.
That's right. They haven't done that.
They haven't done. They have not made
only taken one. But again, you know, that's Tony Bennett's philosophy. You know, if they're going to give me that, I'll take that. They're going to give me something else, I'll take something else. And it's been the defense really that's triggered the offense here in the second half. Now, incidentally, Danny, they're shooting 67% in this game. 58% was their best shooting night of the year. That was against UCLA.
And to beat UCLA again, which it looks like now that the matchup will be Washington State and UCLA tomorrow, they may have to shoot it near that.
Well, they may.
Don't forget, UCLA, when they get into this Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament and in the postseason period, I mean, the Bruins are tough. 3 consecutive Final Fours, and they've won the Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament 2 of the last 3 years. So the Cougars will have their hands full tomorrow. I kind of like the opening game, though, Barry. I like Arizona State.
Great game.
Yeah, Tony Bennett and his staff has done a really a great job. But I think that Arizona State game could be the game of the tournament. And look at the resume for Arizona. Here's their wins. They've beaten Kansas.
Yeah.
They've beaten Gonzaga. By the way, they did beat UCLA. And they've beaten Washington and San Diego State.
A likely tournament team.
Yeah, so I think Arizona with some quality wins, and you know they had the 7-game win streak and then lost 4 in a row before they won again. So they're right on the cusp right now. So they're trying to beat a very good Arizona State team, and that'll be interesting when you see Harden and Glasser in that Arizona State team. By the way, Glasser said he never won a game here at the Staples Center.
That's right.
So, you know, certainly the Sun Devils looking forward to playing well tomorrow.
There's Baines, and they're going to get Baines this time. Backed him down a little too aggressively, took the extra step. We'll take a timeout with 7:59 remaining, and the Cougs in front by 19. We're coming back. Seeded Oregon, they lead by 19. Let's take a moment, Dan, take a look at some of the Pac-10 Conference honors this year. James Harden, Player of the Year. Hard to argue that.
Yeah, it really is hard to argue. Had a great year. How about Isaiah Thomas, a Freshman of the Year? Electrifying, and hard to argue that one also.
Well, Taj Gibson, he's a guy who rejects everything that comes near him.
Well, he really does. And, of course, most improved Justin Detman. What a year he had. I mean, certainly, and the Coach of the Year, Lorenzo Romar, picked 5th in the early predictions and won the conference. First time that Washington has outright won the Pac-10 since 1953. Of course, it wasn't called the Pac-10 yet, but their first outright championship was in '53.
Yeah, no questioning Justin Detman is the most improved player, but I'll tell you what, there's a ton of players in this league who have improved greatly. Talked about Jerome Randall at California, Jordan Hill, of course, at Arizona.
You bet. Didn't Randall have a terrific year? How about his running mate, Patrick Christopher? He also had a super year.
Meantime, Taylor Rochester has only shot the ball 3 times. That's all he's had to shoot it. Got 6 assists in the ball game and has still been the catalyst for this team.
Oregon's going to try to get back in that zone, take a few chances, and there's a good look at a 3. And of course, Klay Thompson doesn't miss many, but when he gets a kind of a wide open perimeter J, but Oregon trying to use multiple defense there, and you can't say why not. You know, we got a very young team. You forget that, you know, last year they lost some pretty good players. They lost Malik Harris. How good was Marty Lunin? I mean, 2 players that were drafted in the 2nd round of the NBA draft. How about Bryce Taylor? Mitch Platt, solid in the middle. Ray Schaefer, a guy that came off the bench, but, you know, at 6'10" or 11. So they lost quite a bit last year.
There's Wiley. He can't find it tonight. Rochester gets it out of there. He's going to wait for help. Castro all the way and goaltending.
Yeah, that's what Criddle has to learn. That ball was not going in. You got to leave it alone there. You just have to stay away and have the discipline not to go up and try to hit that off the glass.
Castro sure gives his team some athleticism, though. He runs very well, finishes big.
I think Tony Bennett may have found something playing Castro and Baines together.
Yes.
You know, all of a sudden now, you're formidable in the middle. I mean, you've got 2 guys there that can deter shots and give you some low block scoring. Now, it's an upset to me when he misses that.
Yeah, especially missed 2 in a row. Near save by Castro, comes back to Criddle. Now Sim. Porter going to step inside. Now he kicks it out. Humphrey. And Humphrey can't find it today either. He's been in a nice rhythm of late. Not tonight. Coming down toward the 6-minute mark, 6:20 remaining to be played in the ball game. The Cougars have owned this game right from the beginning. Thompson turnaround.
Now, you know, if you're Ben Howland watching this game and you see Klay Thompson miss wide open jumpers and he missed a turnaround from 12 feet, what's going through his mind?
Exactly. A timeout. Let me talk to my guys here. That's what's going through his mind.
Well, you know, Ben Howland probably saying, you know, tomorrow he's probably not going to miss any of those. And look at Klay. He's going back shaking it. He can't figure it out. He's never missed 3 consecutive shots.
Probably not. Right now, let's take a moment for the HTC Fuse timeout. The HTC Fuse has full internet, which allows access to FoxSports.com for scores and highlights. Grab a video highlight from tonight's game and share it live during calls. The HTC Fuse. Experience the reaction. This has been a game that has been owned by the Cougars literally from the opening tip.
Well, they set the tone early, and they immediately went down to Aaron Baines, who had that big first half, and really Oregon's not been able to adjust. So, you know, Barry, again, this Pacific Light Pac-10 tournament is going to be some great games tomorrow. And you're going to look at brackets right now. And I think the first one could be the game of the tournament. Arizona State, a lot on the line. Sun Devils are going to play for seeding, and Arizona is trying to play their way into the NCAA tournament. I think if they can win it, they're definitely in. And how about Stanford? We don't talk about much about Stanford, but, you know, Stanford's quick and athletic. They have guard play. And, of course, the Huskies are playing terrific basketball. And that's going to be a great game. Also, USC, California, and Washington State. What a game that will happen tomorrow night against UCLA.
Yeah, there are no bad games in this tournament. Nah, I'm not just saying that. Well, here's what happened the last couple of times these 2 teams played. Of course, on January 22nd, Dragovic came up with 20 points, came up big, 6 of 10 from three-point land for Dragovic. And he really has given the Bruins a very different element in the second half of the season. And then, of course, Rochester had a career-high 33 points in the upset win that the Cougars scored at Pauley Pavilion. And since that time, really the Cougs have not looked back.
No, they haven't. Of course, you know, they beat the Arizona schools at home before losing to Washington in Seattle. And they played extremely well. And kind of they haven't missed a beat coming here to this Pacific Life Pac-10 tournament. Very impressive here tonight against Oregon. They really have not let the Ducks even think they could win this game right from the start.
This is their biggest lead right now. Incidentally, that was Caleb Forrest who made that last shot. And we talked about him as being kind of a wild card. When he shoots well, his team goes well. Well, he's got 14 points in this game.
We thought the big wild card for Washington State a year ago was David Harmelin. You know, I thought Harmelin, and he was like, you know, similar to Forrest, but Harmelin hurt, has not played a whole lot of minutes. And you're right, Forrest has really picked it up. And when he makes shots, now you know Rocheste's tough to guard. Baines is, you know, Klay Thompson will certainly do a good job. And I thought Marcus Capers a good defender. He's long and he's athletic and can make an open J or two.
Now Forrest going to post up while Rocheste's going to pull the trigger. He hasn't shot in a long time. Wanted to see if he started the field. You know?
You think, well, maybe he forgot how to shoot. He said, well, I haven't had a
Let me see if I
shot.
can still do that. And here is David Harmeling coming to the ball game. We believe coming to the ball. He's had a bad shoulder, so he's been played sparingly by Tony Bennett, and we'll see if he does come in.
Now remember, David Harmeling, you know, he's had some extremely good games for Washington State in previous years. I mean, he's a guy you see is from Grand Junction, Colorado. He's very active. He's a good perimeter player and a scorer. But you said, as you said, with the bad shoulder, he hasn't been able to play much. So Tony Bennett going to try to get him some action.
Well, tomorrow our coverage of the Pac-10 tournament will continue. The quarterfinals begin with Arizona taking on Arizona State, a game that we talked about. Stanford to do battle with Washington, and that will be followed by USC in California. And finally, the winner of our game going up against UCLA. Certainly that will be the Washington State Cougars. Our exclusive coverage of the Pacific Life Pac-10 men's basketball tournament continues tomorrow. We begin at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 noon out here on the left coast. So 4:35 left in the game, and Cougs right now enjoying their biggest lead.
And you know Oregon's going to take a few chances when the ball goes to the wing. It is beautiful. Oh, got to be careful. You don't need to take a vicious foul. And good sportsmanship to go over and tap him. And
yeah, it sure was by Kendrick Longmire. We've been talking about the Arizona Wildcats. 24 years in a row they have made it into the NCAA tournament. Their RPI is 52, but you mentioned it earlier. They've got some quality wins. They beat Gonzaga, they beat Kansas, they beat UCLA, they beat Washington, they beat San Diego State. Those are all very good wins against NCAA tournament teams.
You know, Barry, it's unbelievable to think that you have made it to the NCAA tournament 24 consecutive years, and there's Kansas at 19. Kentucky
might not get in.
Yeah, that streak may end, and of course North Carolina. You look at the streak they had, 70. Think about that, from 1975 to 2001, they had the longest consecutive NCAA tournament appearances at 27. And Arizona tomorrow, and I think, you know, many people have them in, and I do right now, but you do have to play another game. And although you lose to Arizona State, they've got a good RPI. It doesn't hurt you severely, but then you're really at the mercy of what happens in other conference tournaments. So they're trying to solidify their position by a win ball.
How about that pass and finish by D'Angelo Castro? Give it up for Caleb Forrest, and even more so for Castro to come down with that ball and get it through.
Well, you can see Castro was like re-energized. He's had an unbelievable game here tonight.
He's got 10 points in the game, but he's just been a factor on both ends of the floor.
And so has Forrest. You know, and I think the X factor, as you said, for this team is Caleb Forrest. Production from Forrest, another score, and the Cougars are tough to beat.
Forrest is 6 of 8 from the field tonight, and he's added 5 rebounds. But this is the way this team has been playing. As I said, this is not an aberration. They've been playing like this. Rochester's and a fight for the rebound, and we're going to get a foul over the top. They'll get Forrest. Watch this last sequence. Watch the lob and watch the finish. Big time. We're coming back. Really something special. I'll tell you all about that. Tech trailed by 19 points at the half in that game. And guess what? Juwan Porter at the free throw line. He's had a quiet second half.
Now, if you think about this game, now you're telling me that Taylor Rochesty's had a hard time making a long-range shot, and Klay Thompson has not made any, right? He can't make a shot outside either.
Made a couple early.
Okay, but I mean deep
Right,
threes,
right.
and yet it's 62 to 38, 39 Washington State. So how good is this team?
Well, I mentioned earlier, they're my dark horse in this tournament, and I realize they have a pretty tall order in trying to handle UCLA, even though they did beat them the last time. I think they're playing great right now.
Yeah, I think the Bruins will be ready.
Oh, I think they will too. Well, you know, you get Ben Howland to the postseason, he is tough.
Remember, too, he's had a long time to prepare his. So is Mike Montgomery in California, which I think will be a real interesting game against Southern California tomorrow night. So there's some great games coming up tomorrow. You want to make sure that you tune in, starting out with Arizona State, and that's going to be the leadoff game at noon tomorrow, 3 Eastern time.
Humphrey outside. Still can't find one. He's had a tough shooting night. Gonna get a foul. Josh Criddle guilty of the foul. Koprivica will go to the free throw line. Criddle runs that one down. So 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. That shot by John Eloriaga, who does not get a lot of minutes for Ernie Kent, but brings him on now.
It's a great opportunity for players who have worked all year, Barry, to get in to a Pacific Live Pac-10 tournament at the Staples Center and tell everybody. And what I like about Eloriaga that time, at least he went to shoot it.
No, he did. That's right. You got to do that.
Yeah, he did. At least he said, I want to kind of try to get into box score.
So both teams now playing their benches. Nick Witherow on the floor for Washington State. We'll try to pick some of these guys up so their families can hear that they were actually out here. Abe Lodwick on the floor as well. And so too is Charlie Enquist. And in the lane trying that shot for Oregon, Nicholas Fern. So a tough out for the Oregon Ducks.
And it disappoints. You see Kendrick Longmire. You know, the Oregon team has to be very disappointed. But the fact of the matter is, you know, this is a young basketball team. It's regroup time. It's work hard in the summer. They've had a good recruiting class. They certainly have help coming in. They got the nucleus of a very good basketball team. And I think the summer is going to be critical for the Oregon Ducks. Just to get everybody on the same page, to work really hard. And hopefully, you know, when you come out next year, to start strong. The other thing that happened this year with the Oregon Ducks, at one time, Barry, they had the #1 toughest schedule in the country with a lot of freshmen. So, you know, Ernie said that probably was, you know, you make the schedule 3 and 4 years in advance. So next year's, I think, going to be a big improvement for Oregon. It'll be a big improvement for Oregon State also. They've had a very good recruiting class. So both of the schools in the Northwest and the Oregon area are going to be much improved a year from now.
And Weatherall has this go off his hands and out of bounds. And Oregon will get possession again. 54.7 seconds now. And Ernie Kent has had a very long season, one in which, as we said, he's had to be the teacher. Class act, Ernie Kent.
But, you know, we have seen Oregon play a number of times, and we've been at the practices countless. They work hard, and you got to give the players credit also. They did not get down. Every practice was, you know, there was not a lot of yelling and screaming going on. It was all teaching, and everybody had a good attitude. Players are resilient, and they worked really hard And most of these guys come out of Wayne programs. You know, you remember Tawan Porter came out of an unbelievable program at Renaissance High in Detroit. He was a teammate of Malik Hairston. So many of these players played on teams that did not lose many high school games. So this is, you know, this all of a sudden is kind of a, you know, what's going on. But they will learn from this, and I'm really of the opinion that Oregon will they'll make a dramatic improvement a year from now. And as I said, very excellent recruiting class. They've got some help coming in, and with this nucleus, they'll be fine.
No question about it. It's set freshman, it's tough. Vern got a hand on that ball, knocked it away. Now he gets it back. Now he tried to lob it that time to Criddle coming down the lane, and Capers got a hand on it, knocked it out of bounds. So 24.5 seconds left now, and a very impressive win for Washington State, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've seen Washington State also quite a bit. And Barry, are you really surprised? I mean, the Cougars coming into this tournament playing as well as anybody in the conference, and there's now when you've got Casto and Baines in there, and all of a sudden now you've got perimeter shooting, you've got post action, and I think Aaron Baines is really the key. I mean, along with Rochester, you know, is going to play well, but Baines is a player that's tough to handle at 6'11". If he gets off and gets going like he did tonight, you know, Washington State's going to be a tough out.
And defensively, they're so sound. And here's some numbers that just kind of underline everything we've just been talking about. Oregon will finish shooting 26%. They had 3 assists in the entire game and only 13 baskets.
Not many. And look at the line for Aaron Baines. That was a great graphic there. Baines with 20 points on, what, 8 or 9 shots? I mean, just didn't shoot the ball very much. It's kind of a James Harden night.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
The guy's got like 20, 25 points. He hardly took 10 shots.
So this one will go into the books, and this crowd will file quietly out of Staples Center. The crowd, not at all a factor in this game, but you got to give it up for Tony Bennett and the Cougs. Got to feel bad for what Ernie Kent has gone through, but I agree with you. They'll be back, and I feel quite certain Ernie will be back as well, as he should be. So Washington State moves on. It doesn't get any easier for them as they will move on to play the UCLA Bruins. Oregon will make the long trip back to Eugene. Washington State wins it 62-40, and they do so in impressive fashion, and they had the lead literally from the get-go. They were up 10 points just about 6 minutes into the ballgame, and they never looked back after that. So the Cougars move on. They'll play UCLA. We want to remind you that coming up on the other side of this commercial break, Don McLean and Michael Reeves will bring you up to date on everything that happened here at the Staples Center today. That's a wrap for us. For Dan Bell,